Say hello.
Hello.
So, what brought you here?
I'm trying to find roofies.
And you need them for...
My daughter.
Is she sick or something?
No.
Then why does she need them?
You know what roofies do.
Yeah, they are used for sedation.
With some modification, they just erase short-term memory for a few hours.
With alcohol, I guess?
Alcohol, and by adding some hydrogen to it.
And then again, why does your daughter need them? Is she a junkie?
No, so I can do her.
That's bold, dude. How old is she?
17 in 2 months.
And I guess she isn't aware of this.
Nope.
But man, there are many other women you could hit on, without roofies.
Well, I wanted to try her because I was curious.
So you want to do this for the first time?
No, it's not the first time.
But you've got a wife, don't you?
No, I'm divorced.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, man. Why isn't your daughter drinking with her friends?
She does when they invite her to some party.
Well, thanks for this conversation and sorry for my curiosity. This deep web thing is just pretty new for me.
It's fine. Feel free to ask.
That much question's okay for you? Just curious. Okay, thanks. How many times you gave her roofies?
Around 30.
That often?
It would be often if I did it day after day.
Well, you made your point. But then again, I think she would recognize it after a while. Doesn't she wonder about her blackouts?
No, I do it before she goes to sleep. Or other times, I just tell her she was drunk.
And she's buying it?
Yes, I'm a chemist. She takes my word for granted regarding these matters.
Wait, what? Isn't there any legal drug that you could use for this when you work as a chemist? Not that I want to encourage you.
No, there's not.
What will you do if you get busted by your daughter?
Pray.
I guess prayer wouldn't save you in that situation.
Nothing else is.
And in the case that only your daughter would bust you, what would you do then? I guess it would have the same outcome. Well, thanks for your frankness, but you should stop doing this to your daughter in any case. I really do not want to judge you, but if I had a daughter, I would certainly not do this to her.
I hope you guys enjoyed that first part. It wasn't very long, but I thought it was worthy to be included in this video. Make sure to subscribe to Brothers Jackson's channel, and I'll see you all next time.
I first began using the deep web last year and instantly became addicted. I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but I collect firearms purely for ornamental purposes, so the deep web is a cool place to get a variety of guns without needing a license. I hopped from black market to black market, and I tend to keep my head down and keep myself to myself. I was looking for a specific gun one time and found it for a high, yet decent price. It was on a site I'd never used before. I'm not going to tell you the name of it for me and my wife's safety. I added it to my cart and went to purchase it, and I had to sign up with my email. At which point, I'd be sent an email with a password that would gain me access to pay. I assumed this was in place for security. I was tempted to set up a deep web email, but I wasn't sure if that was even possible, so I set up a brand new email using lots of false details, thinking this would cover me. Skip the shit and I've signed up to this site and have all but paid for this gun when I noticed another small firearm had been added to my cart. I removed it and a message saying, "Are you sure you want to remove this item from your cart?" appeared. I clicked yes, and as I did, the pay via Bitcoin button went pale, and when clicked, nothing happened. I tried a few times and after 5 minutes gave up, feeling pissed off and annoyed. I turned off my PC and went to clean myself up before bed. The next day, I logged onto my PC and my internet browser automatically opened on my new email. I had all but forgotten about this when I saw a glitchy inbox. It had no sender or title and appeared to be empty. Being really fucking stupid, I clicked on it. The message?
Don't drive, run for it, hold hands in the meadow, control the groups that focus on us and hold back from the restraints that value reality of thought.
I assumed this was some kind of shitty deep web spam and was going to delete the message and the email account when something made me physically tear up. Right at the bottom of the email, really far down, was my entire address, bank details, car registration, and full name of my wife, followed by the words, "Don't hide, run." A few nights later, after I'd deleted the email and made necessary changes to my bank account, I was slightly calmer, being edgy for the last few days. I was laying in bed reading when the letterbox flicked. It was 2 AM and I wandered downstairs to see a fully stamped envelope addressed to me. I opened it to find pictures of me at work, on my dinner, and at home, accompanying them. A note saying, "Don't hide, run." I was fucking freaking. I didn't tell my wife so she didn't panic, nor the police because of my collection of illegal firearms. I was just consumed by it. Over the next few days I saw people always looking at me, cars tailing me and things just not adding up. I didn't trust anyone and a few nights ago, my car was at the garage being serviced and my wife was visiting her mother in London when I heard the downstairs doorknob jangle and a few heavy thuds. I looked out my window to see a hooded figure, middle-aged, look right at me in the night. I tiptoed downstairs with a gun and moved the curtains. I literally shit myself when written on my front window in still wet paint was, "Don't hide, run." I have recently told my wife and I'm staying at a hotel for the next few days till she comes back and we can discuss what to do. I have no idea if this has anything to do with the gun site or if this was an external virus, but I'm 100% sure this is from the deep web and I have no idea what this guy wants.
So, today marks the 15th year after the event I'm about to disclose to you. These events happened on Thursday the 14th of 2001. I attended University of Western in Ontario, Canada. While there, I met a lot of people who had experience with this thing called the dark net or the deep web. I never knew much about it other than it was extremely fucked up. I had always heard stories of people getting murdered or chased by hitmen, but I never fell for it. My biggest mistake. So back to the people I met. While I was searching for my ways to get on the dark net, I was pointed to a guy at my school named John Dalton. I befriended John and he told me how to get set up. I downloaded the Tor and he was nice enough to get me started with an IP scrambler. He told me in warning to never provoke anyone. After that, I was on my way. Weeks have passed. I had a lot of fun on the dark net, made some friends that showed me around the deep web. I was getting pretty good. Then, I found a forum. This forum I found seemed very innocent. It had people talking about their day, with the occasional loony preaching about their god, but one thing seemed to be off. There was no way of navigating the site at all. All the entire site was names and text under them. After half an hour of looking around on the site, which pretty much entailed scrolling up and down, a link popped up on my screen. Me being mindless, I clicked it, and what took place still eludes me to this day. It redirected me to a site with the message, "So you are new," with the flashing prompt to reply. Again, being the idiot I am, I typed "yeah." After I typed that, my computer turned off and rebooted itself. Everything was black. My wallpaper of my family's Alberg 37 sailboat, the toolbar, and everything. 5 seconds later, a new prompt popped up saying, "I know who you are now, Patrick." I immediately sat up, freaking the fuck out as I stared at the prompt with the words, type your message here, flashing before my eyes. Quickly another message popped up. The quiet type. Don't worry, you're not in trouble. So I typed back my response. Then I was redirected back to the site I was on before, but this time it was different. Photos of naked people popped up, mostly black teens, all over the place with the words value, strong, controllable. I just realized that they were selling people. Real, live people. I freaked out at the live chat prompt with people sharing stories of how they murdered them. Pictures popped up of beheaded people, and then all of a sudden, I get a message from Frank Crozer with the words, new? ? I then freaked out and typed, how can you do this? After he sent me pictures of his latest victims. Soon after, I was redirected back to my desktop, still black with the words, ugh, another little bitch visiting the real man's web. I stupidly sent back, I'm calling the fucking police, you twisted sack of human shit. Soon after, I found myself on a new website with the words, Hitman for hire. I saw my name at the top of the list. Soon more text was sent back. Tell me, do you want to die? Because on the road you're on right now, you'll wish you'd been dead. I could not send anything back because of how shocked I was. Then, I know where you live. I know your number. If you call anyone with the topic of me, I'll have you killed. Now, after that, I have never gone back. I never told anyone, and I moved further north. And I had not a single thing follow me from the site. Until 4 weeks ago. I was showing my son of 7 years how to use the computer safely. While we were Googling, my screen went black. The words popped up, you think I'm gone? I notice a blue light flash as my face cam turns on, and I thought, thank the fucking God that it was broken. I then get one last response. I'll always be with you. Then everything went back to normal. My son was a little confused by my shocked posture, but other than that, everything was fine. Still, I get the occasional shiver when I hear my PC boot up. The power button is a little sticky. It's been doing it for years. Or so I thought. It never occurred to me that it may be because my university years and my stupid access of the deep web. I still don't really comprehend the entire situation. I'm just happy I'm alive.
I read a lot online from people saying that red rooms don't exist. In my opinion, this isn't true. Why? Because I've seen a red room and it has drastically changed my view on humans. It all started a couple of years back when I got interested in the deep web. Like most people, a certain unitchable curiosity guided me there, and after downloading I2P, call me paranoid, I didn't trust Tor due to how commonplace the name was. I began a deep web endeavour. Like most stories you hear, I was basically skipping from link to link via an explorer's best friend, the hidden wiki. I found a lot, and I mean a lot, of CP and drug supermarkets. Later, I accidentally clicked on a free chat room. I was already massively uncomfortable, but again, that urge to explore was pushing me on. The website was empty. It was like an Omegle but with a black background, red text and no logo at the top. There was even a tab to add emojis. I was sat there for about a minute when a message popped up.
Hey, what are you thinking about?
I automatically looked at my webcam and covered it with my thumb and placed a collar of a t-shirt over it.
Ha 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 ha. Don't worry, friend. I'm not going to hurt you.
Sorry, I don't know how I got here. I don't mean to offend you. This was all I could think of to say.
Don't worry. Don't apologise. What is it you're looking for?
Drugs, I instantly typed. Oh, cool.
What kind?
He asked. Weed, I said.
I'm going to take a guess and say you're new to the deep web?
I didn't respond.
I can help show you round. In fact, I know the perfect place.
He then sent a link and a password and said he'd pay the Bitcoin. I was scared and followed the link. Don't judge me on this, the shock and surprise of the situation caught me off guard. I was brought to a site almost identical to the chat room I was in, but with one key difference. Half the screen was taken up by a black screen. My stomach turned as I knew what I was in for, but for some reason, I didn't exit the window. The screen burst into action and a grimy white wall came into view. The camera was like a CCTV in the top right corner of the room. From below the camera, a man, dressed as a clown, came hauling a chair with a writhing woman, bag over head, into view. A fucking clown. Not even scary looking, just like a fancy dress outfit, but still unnerving to fuck. I had seen enough and was rapidly clicking the close icon when a message popped up on the chat.
Stick around. This is gonna get fun.
The clown pulled up a tripod chair and laptop, looked up at the camera, and typed a message.
Requests? Slice her.
The clown then went off screen and brought back a briefcase. He took the bag off the girl's head, who looked at the briefcase and began squealing and squirming. I turned my audio off and the clown pulled out a cutthroat razor and began slashing at the woman, who flinched every time. The woman was oriental, mid-20s and in severe pain. Deep crimson began leaking through and I was almost sick. I looked away and the chat began again.
How many you have? 3. Dispose of this chick, she's boring. How? You want me to fuck her with a tire iron?
He pulled one out of his briefcase and showed it to the camera.
Just make it quick.
The clown walked up behind the woman with the razor, pulled her hair, and as he went to cut her throat, I finally unplugged my PC. The image of the clown, the razor, and the crying woman seared into my mind. I phoned the police and told them what happened. They didn't ask me to visit the site, but took any details I could give them before lecturing me on the dangers of this kind of thing. 1 week later, I had a message on Facebook off an account with the name Hey Friend. I thought this was weird as Facebook usually doesn't allow names like this. I opened the message and it read,
Hey friend, enjoyed the show? Shame you couldn't stay. It got really messy after you left. If you ever want to come back, you know where to find me.
I alerted the police immediately and tracking the account led to a PC in rural Japan. Still, to this day, I have no idea what is going on with the case, but I know the deep web isn't for the faint of heart, or for those looking to quench their curiosities.
When I was 16 years old, I was a counselor on this online support site. I quickly worked my way up the ranks and became friends with quite a few of the regular members. A little background on this support site: people could log on as a guest or a member and talk to designated counselors, or they could talk in a public chat room. Basically, we got people from all walks of life that were dealing with any number of issues and didn't feel comfortable talking to someone in real life. There were 2 sides, an over 18 side and an under 18 side. As I mentioned, I had become friends with quite a few regular members on this site. There was one person in particular that grew pretty attached to me. His name is Ben. Ben had been going through a pretty rough time, and he came to me regularly to talk and vent. This was pretty usual with my regulars, so I thought nothing of it. Little things here and there worried me a bit, such as he would always be on when I was, or if he saw me in the public chat, he would bombard me with private messages. Again, I thought nothing of it, and kind of just brushed it off. Ben would start telling me of how other counselors hated him. This was odd, as none of them had said anything to me about this particular member. As I pried, he would tell me that these counselors refused to speak to him anymore, or had blocked him altogether. This was odd, as blocking was a rare occurrence unless the member was harassing you. He would beg me to talk to these other counselors for him, to which I just said I couldn't. I again brushed this off as I felt pretty sorry for him. About 6 months or so in, Ben started private messaging me every day, and he would get very upset if I hadn't replied. He went as far as to beg for other counselors to ask why I wouldn't reply to his private messages. I simply said I wasn't taking private messages and I left it at that. When I would talk to him, he started telling me how pretty I was and how he wished I was his girlfriend. This site had a strict no off-site contact rule, and I constantly reminded him of that and that we were not a dating site. That I had just been there to be a counselor to him. He kept on though, and I would just ignore his advances, trying to redirect the conversation back to his issue of the day. At this point, he was just messaging me to talk in general, to which I tried saying if he wasn't having an issue, my time would be best spent helping those who needed me. Kind of a dick thing to say, but we had tons of people every day who desperately needed our help, so talking just to talk was kind of an inconvenience. However, when I said this, I always referred him to the public chat where he could talk about whatever he wanted. He started telling me about how he was really getting into the deep web. He even went as far as to send me links and things and told me how to access the deep web. I went on once and got the creeps, so I deleted everything he sent me. He constantly started telling me about the sick shit he saw on there, to the point that I would have to sign off just to get a break from this kid. Whenever I was online, I marked myself as offline, kind of like how you can mark yourself offline on Facebook Messenger, but it was like he knew I was online because I would always get a flood of messages within 10 minutes of getting on the site. I still just ignored his craziness because I felt bad for him due to his issues. A lot of people on the site had boundary issues, so I figured he would come to terms with it over time. Fast forward to when I turned 18 years old. I had been moved to the 18 and up side of the site. I had been getting acquainted when his familiar username popped up in my chats. Now on this site, if you were under 18, you couldn't message anyone over 18 as the site literally would not allow you to. I was confused, and I noticed his account was now an adult account instead of a teen account. This freaked me out, but I just chalked it up to a coincidence. Maybe his birthday was near mine. Knowing what I know now though, I feel as though he purposely aged his account so that he could continue talking to me. He picked up right where he left off, this time being more persistent about talking off the site. I adamantly reminded him of the no contact policy and he just begged and begged. I ended up leaving the site for an unrelated issue, thinking that this was the last I would see of him. I was very wrong. A few months after I left the site, I got a message on Facebook. Now on this support site, we were all anonymous and none of our personal information was shared. I even used a different name so that I couldn't be found on other sites. I didn't even use the same pictures. I asked how he had found me and he said he found me through one of my friends that had also been on the site. He had found her through the site's Facebook page, which was nearly impossible considering he would have had to have gone through everyone with the first name to find her. He asked if we could be friends, and I declined, making up some bullshit excuse on how it would be unprofessional when in reality, I was just simply scared shitless. He started messaging me every day at all hours. He would try venting to me as if I was his counselor again, which I told him I wasn't, and that my counseling time was over. He started saying how much he liked me and how pretty I was. Again, I told him how unprofessional it was. He constantly flirted with me and kept asking if there was anything he could do to make me feel more at ease with being more than friends. He kept saying how much he'd like to meet me in person and how far away he was from me. He officially creeped me out and I finally blocked him on Facebook. He went to my friend and begged her to ask me to talk to him. I just refused, and I haven't heard from him since then. To this day, he still asks my friend about me, but even she ignores him now too. The moral of the story is that if someone is creeping you out, don't just ignore it because you feel sorry for them. Even if it's little things, it could escalate quickly. I luckily never had to deal with more than what I've written here, but it could have gotten much worse had I not blocked him when I did. Be safe there on the internet.